But holidays were added and removed thereafter due to self-government, our merger with Malaysia, and independence, such that 16 public holidays in 1967 were no longer equally distributed. Hari Raya Puasa was observed over 2 days, while Hari Raya Haji and the Prophet's birthday were also holidays. Easter weekend included Friday and Monday, alongside Christmas. Hence, when called to give up a holiday, the Indian community had to do so with a smaller number to begin with. And what may be worse is that the responses by the government appear to suggest that the holidays that have been gazetted were chosen not so much for their ethnic linkages, but for their religious significance. If so, then the allocation of 2 per religion, Hari Raya Haji and Puasa, Good Friday and Christmas, and the 2 days of Chinese New Year and Deepavali and Vesak Day may, on its face, seem fair. Except, of course, Vesak Day, despite being the birthday of Indian print and ascetic sage Siddhartha Gautama, is hardly celebrated by the local Indian community in Singapore at all, but more by Buddhists. In contrast, Thaipusam, despite its official non-recognition as a holiday, remains a spiritually significant and joyous affair for Hindus here. In the debate surrounding the Holidays Amendment Bill in 1968, which rescinded Thaipusam as a holiday, then Minister for Law and Economic Development, E.W. Barker, went as far as to suggest, and I quote, that if our island prospers, I'm sure the government will ask me to come back here, and on that day, it will be my pleasure to move amendments to increase the number of holidays, end quote. Between 1968 and today, our GDP per capita has grown from a little more than $2,100 to more than $127,000, close to a 60-fold increase. It is impossible to claim that we have not prospered. It is time to call in that promise made close to 6 decades ago and reinstate Thaipusam as a national holiday.
Ms. Hazel Poa suggested increasing the number of public holidays by 3 days for Hari Raya, Thaipusam, and Chinese New Year. Associate Professor Jamus Lim asked for the inclusion of Thaipusam as a public holiday, echoing similar requests by other members such as Mr. Gan Siow Huang in the past. The current configuration of public holidays in Singapore is the outcome of careful deliberations and consultations with various religious groups at the point of Singapore's independence. Over the years, we have learned to live harmoniously as a multi-ethnic and multi-religious society, with everyone making some compromises for the greater good. We encourage employers to make it possible for Singaporeans of all faiths to observe their respective religious festivals. Maintaining the current balance has served us well, and it continues to be the sensible approach for Singapore.
On the call for the consideration of Thaipusam, I had cited in the conclusion of my cut former Minister E.W. Barker's implicit promise to revisit our public holiday schedule should our economy prosper. Could I ask the Ministry if there are no economic conditions or no level of prosperity under which the government will be willing to consider the schedule of public holidays?
Chairman, as I said yesterday, the decision on which public holidays to observe was only reached after very careful consultation with religious groups in Singapore in the past, which undoubtedly required difficult decisions for the leaders back then from each faith to take. Any move to reinstate a festival, such as Thaipusam, as a public holiday, may invite competing claims from members of other communities, both religious and non-religious. Maintaining the current balance has served Singapore well and continues to be the sensible approach. Now, regardless of the intervening years and the progress that we have made, this is a sensitive issue. We should not take Singapore's economic progress for granted and look to introducing additional public holidays at every opportunity. And while we cannot designate all important festivals, public holidays, there must be understanding and regard given for Singaporeans to observe occasions that are significant to them. That is why we urge all employers to show understanding and flexibility in this regard.